And Ed, meanwhile, President Biden is designating Colombia as a major non-NATO ally. For more on that, we want to bring in the president of Colombia, Iván Duque Márquez. President Duque, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. What more can you tell us about your meeting with President Biden?
Well, first of all, Meg, thank you for having me tonight. I think this was an incredible meeting because we're celebrating 200 years of a bilateral relationship. So Colombia was elevated to the category of a strategic not NATO ally, not NATO member ally, and this signifies the most important recognition of the importance that we have built over the years. So this will allow Colombia to have access to investment, trade, but also security matters that will strengthen our relationship and will protect Colombia. And something that is also very important, we will also receive more support from the United States on climate action, which is a matter that we have been working together, but also on refugee protections and migrants protection in Colombian soil. So we believe this is a very important diplomatic achievement.
Mr. President, was in the room today when you were meeting with the president there, and you mentioned that you are in touch with the leaders of some Baltic states, some Eastern European countries, about the experience of suddenly having to welcome hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of refugees. Colombia right now is home to more than 1 million Venezuelans who have crossed the border in recent years amid the political strife there. And you suggested that you're offering assistance or sort of consultations on what it's like and what they can anticipate. What can they anticipate? What are you telling those leaders? And do you anticipate deploying officials in your government to go help out, or what?
Well, Ed, the experience that Colombia has is that we have dealt with the most complex migration crisis in Latin America in recent history. We have received in Colombia 1.8 million migrants. So we created a policy to provide them with health care, nutrition, attention, but we also launched a temporary protection status for 10 years so that they will have access to jobs, they will have access to the health care system, and they will also be able to have a bank account and to contribute to the economy and improve their way of living. It took us almost 2 years, but today the experience that we have can be shared. And I've spoken with the president of Romania, with the president of Poland, and the prime minister of Slovakia, so we can provide all the decision package that we have made. And we're also thinking of sending a mission of our people to also look at the border zone refugee camps and the border zone facilities so that we can also share our experience in being able to attend such a massive migration move. So I think this is a way Colombia, as the only Latin American associated member of NATO, can contribute to the management of this crisis.
As you visit here in Washington, it comes just a few days after a Biden administration team went to Venezuela to secure the release of 2 U.S. hostages. The administration says there was no more formal conversation with the Maduro regime, and there was no direct conversation about oil or possibly lifting the embargo on Venezuelan oil being used in the United States. Were you upset that the United States didn't give you a heads up that this meeting was happening?
So on that question, I think the conversation that we had with President Biden and his team was very transparent and open, and they mentioned the willingness of them to get the release of the American hostages in Venezuela. So that's a humanitarian policy that I do respect. But something that is also very important is that in the joint statement we made today, we made clear that there has to be a return to democracy in Venezuela, and also that we support the Inter-American Democratic Charter. So we have been condemning Maduro, and we have been calling him what he is, a dictator. And we urge all the nations to keep on maintaining the pressure so that Venezuela can truthfully have presidential elections and allow the country to improve. So in that, we keep on managing not only the same speech, but we also keep on managing the same policies so that we call things by their name.
This isn't being suggested right now, but if talks continue between the United States and Venezuela, should the United States recognize Maduro as the leader of Venezuela?
In my opinion, Ed, Maduro is a dictator. I have personally denounced him before the International Criminal Court, and he's also been indicted by U.S. courts by crimes he has committed. So I think he is a dictator, and we will continue calling him a dictator. And I think the joint statement that we made today with President Biden, who has been a champion of democracy, is that Venezuela needs to engage that path. Otherwise, the tragedy that they are living is going to continue. And something that is also very important, although they never talked about this, but it's also very important for me to say it. I think we all can contribute in making a more sustainable energy security matrix in the region, and Colombia can also contribute to that. Colombia nowadays is expanding production, and we have U.S. companies that are doing offshore drilling. And besides that, we have Colombian companies that are joining American companies in the Permian Basin in Texas to improve oil production. So I think we can all contribute to this security, but we have to keep on condemning Maduro as it is. He's a dictator, and we need to find for Venezuela a democratic path.
All right.
Just real quick, if the U.S. were to suddenly allow Venezuelan oil again, would that help or hurt the Colombian economy?
Colombia today has been threatened by the Maduro regime because he has been a supporter of terrorists in his soil. He has provided safe haven to terrorists in the Venezuelan soil. And we know that the only way the migration crisis will come to an end if there's a true path to democracy and economic recovery. So for us, everything that perpetuates Maduro in power, it's negative for Latin America. And what I value about the joint statement we made with President Biden is that he also made the call for the democratic transition and to protect the Inter-American Democratic Charter. So by no means we can allow Maduro to remain brutalizing his country.
All right, Ed O'Keefe and Colombian President Iván Duque Márquez, thank you both so much.